Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I am back with part 2 of our scrapbook album. Now, in our first video, we made our base. We got our hinges in, we've got our chipboard covered. Again, this is a 6 by 3 inch base. And again, I'm really getting back into scrapbooking albums, and I will make sure that there are links to a couple that I really do enjoy watching. So in this video, it's going to be very different. I'm going to do my stamping. I'll probably talk just a little bit, but I plan on stamping each of the images. So in this case, in this one, the bottles, the shells, starfish, and then these 3 images twice. For this one, it's going to be the boat, the seagull, life preserver, the anchor, and all of the little pieces except the ropes. Each of those pieces are going to be stamped twice, maybe in different ways as well. Like this, I want this to have, you know, gold accents and so on. All the sentiments I'm going to stamp once. Beauty in the world is when it comes to Sabrina's stamps and her coordinating dies. You get the dies for the sentiments as well. So that's how that stamping's going to go. For the die cutting, each one of these images, and this one, so all of these images that I'm showing are all going to be die cut once. They're going to have the color details and so forth. And then these here, I'm going to have pieces. I will still die cut them, but use pieces from them. And then I'm also going to pull this in as well. So I'm getting all the die cutting ready. I'm setting them up in envelopes to keep all the pieces in there. Looking at the pieces to say, okay, do I want this to happen? Do I want this to happen? And so forth. It's something that you do want to figure out before you start your album, especially if we're using items that are already in our stash. When it comes to scrapbooking for a card maker, we have 50%, if not 100% of the items already for what we need. You don't have to use pattern paper for your bases in your album. You can use solid cardstock, and with the stencils and these background dies that we have, you can create beautiful pattern papers on your own. Even with your stamps, you can create beautiful pattern papers on your own. So to allow these two wonderful paper crafts to merge, I think is a great thing. Mainly because you can take what you have and stretch it out just to another level. And that's one of the things that you're going to see here. To take what we have, how can we turn it into something else? I love paper, but I love when it becomes 3D and it becomes interactive. That's what makes me really enjoy what this paper can do, how we can manipulate it. And I'm sure this is something that you will enjoy too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp all the images. You're going to watch that. I'm just going to have some music playing, watching me stamp out the images. I did decide to use my colored pencils. I really want to use the colored pencils, but I think I'm going to have a mixture. So I'm going to have the best of both worlds, where I'm going to put the base down with my alcohol markers, and then I'm going to come in with the detail and the shading with my colored pencils. So we get to see both of that for those of you that may only like alcohol markers. No watercolor is coming in. I may splatter some things, but no watercolor is coming in. I will show one of each item that I color when it comes to the stamp. Will be a little bit sped up. And then I'm going to come back in with all of my die cuts, and I'm just going to start putting them together. Now for the die cuts, I'm only going to do one of each image. Again, this is only a 6x6 album, but even though it's got 4 flipping pages, there's going to be a lot going on in there. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so we got our stamping done from 2 stamp sets. Who knew that it would take, you know, close to 30 minutes. So again, every single image was stamped between these 2. And again, these are our ephemera pieces. I'm not going to emboss these, obviously. But we have lots and lots of ephemera. Now, I may do the smaller pieces again, but I'm only going to have 8 sides in reality. So, you know, having the 4 large ones here, the 3 here, we're looking at 14, and some of them will be doubled up. The sentiments, we are just doing 1 stamp of all of the sentiments. I did not pull the ones with sympathy, Father's Day, or anything else. I just pulled the ones that had those beautiful quotes. So those are the ones that we'll use, and I'll die cut those once I do the die cutting for the other pieces. So right now, let's get into the coloring. It's going to be very basic, nothing too fancy. So I'm going to turn on some music again. Sit back and enjoy. Okay, so while I was coloring or just using the alcohol markers on these, coloring them, I'm only going to do one set, one of each. Totally not thinking, hello, dies that are going to be put together as well, also can be used for ephemera. I also really like the way the alcohol markers came out. It's sketchy, it's not perfect. I may come in with a colored pencil, might bring in a peach shade or a light blue shade for the shells, just darken up the crab a little bit. I'm going to add some blue for the glass on the bottles, but that's really it. I may blend this out just a little more, but I really like the sketchy look that I have on these. Again, it's rustic. So with that, I mean, these are the colors so that you know what we're looking at. So this is the paper pad that I'm going to be using. It'll fit, so we've got some grays. The colors are soft in this. Yes, you have a dark blue and a bright red, but if you look, for the most part, soft. Background is soft. It's just not overpowering like this page is. And those are the pages that I'm going to be using. Now, whenever I do a scrapbook album too, I do make sure that I have some solid cardstocks as well. And this is the palette that I chose. Oops. See, I keep my scraps. Let me get that in there. It's a very muted, very soft palette. So we have the pink, the peach, a dark gray, a lighter gray, and then a beige. And when you set that up onto the book, it's just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful color palette. So pattern paper may be base. This is going to accent it, or can be base. And then I'm going to have all of these bright and vibrant pieces of ephemera, whether they're the stamped images that I just colored and I just buried. No, I didn't. So you can see, and if I put that up there, it's just a very soft but strong image and color palette. So don't think that you can't put bold, bright, strong against a neutral, soft color palette. You can. It'll help to make it strong, pull out. Oh, and I forgot one more color. Can't forget my ivory. It'll just pull everything out together. So I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're liking what's coming up here. It's very different, and I know I am enjoying it. When I can use my stash and collections a different way and get a beautiful piece to gift, or again, you know, to do to save your memories, then to me, perfect. So that's going to end this video. So you've seen it's very calming. You know, again, we're not doing anything, but it's just flicking motions with the alcohol, tapping motions with the alcohol markers. No blending. I mean, there is no blending. The stamps allow for that because of the beautiful design that Sabrina did with the hatching and everything else. Again, I may just come in with a colored pencils on some of them just to soften this white out just a little bit and add some colors to the shells and the crab. So that's it. You're not going to miss anything. So the next video that you will see is going to be all of the construction of the dies. So you'll get to see all of the different colors that I use, all of the different ways that I'm going to use the dies. And again, as you're looking at this, when you're doing something like this, you're going to think ahead, because you're going to say, okay, this page, I want this page to do this. The die might do it. And one of those dies that I'm looking at and thinking about already as to how I want to do this, there are 2 of them. And I'm going to pull them out and we're going to real quick talk about them. And of course I can't find the other one. Hang on, I'll find it. I'll find it. And I won't find it. So the other die, found it. I knew if I stopped, are these 2. What's great with scrapbook albums is you can make them interactive. And you'll see what I mean by that. It's not just, okay, this is a flip page. You know, this flips this way, this flips this way, this flips up, this flips down, accordion pulls out. They're just interactive. And they've really grown since last time. I know, my hands are in the screen. People hate that. But like with this one, I've got an opening here. How can I make this a moving part when it comes to the scrapbook? And that's what I want to show. This is going to be a moving part that's going to be able to be opened on the piece. This here can be a moving part or a pop-up in some way. So I'm looking at those pieces and saying, okay, how can we make this work? How can we provide that detail and those depths? Because again, we have 3/4 inch gussets. When I used to make these, or when I first started, my gussets were only 3/8 of an inch. And you didn't have much room in between to add your embellishments, to add your movements, your brads, your gems, your flowers, and all this stuff. The way this is designed, because of that gap, oh, we've got room. Again, and it's just something to plan out. So I'm taking you along with this thought process on how I would look to put these together as a card maker so that we can use our stash. Again, I do hope you're enjoying this. Hope I'm giving you some ideas, maybe a different way to use that stamp or die, or a different way to color it to get a different look. All right, so next video up, it's all about the dies and the die cutting. No, you will not watch me do any die cutting like you did stamping. I'm just going to have the pieces all die cut out. I'm going to have them in envelopes, and we're just going to put all these different sets together. And once they're together, we're going to start putting our book together. We'll build our base pages, and then we will start decorating them, so to speak. All right, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, or just listen to the music and enjoy the coloring if you did. Continue to create your art. Continue to enjoy your art. Notice how I keep repeating that? I know it's annoying, but please do. You take something from nothing and you turn it into something, or you take one thing and turn it into something else. And that's the beauty of our world, and paper is the perfect medium for that. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit that bell so that you can know when the next video's available in this little mini series here. But remember what's most important. Always be creative, guys. And I will be talking to you in the next one. Till then, bye.